Hi, YouTube. How are you guys doing? We're going to be talking about the mistranslation issue for the Jiyan weapon that happened in Japan, because I'm trying to figure out more about it because I feel like I don't fully understand what happened. But if you'd like to come hang out on Twitch sometime, I am streaming daily at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on twitch.tv/hex_juice. And you should come join us because we got all the cute little Twitch boys and we love them so much. But let's go ahead and begin. Subscribe. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read this tweet first for some context. So this is context about this issue, which is due to a serious translation error. Jiyan's signature weapon, JP effect, is written as each time an intro skill or resonance skill instead of each time an intro skill or resonance liberation. Kuro is now facing a flaming after fixing it and giving out one roll as compensation. Some JP players are planning to report Kuro to the Consumer Affairs Agency Department. So basically, it said that the signature weapon was going to buff the skill, but it actually buffs the ult, essentially. And they have threatened to report them.
This is the weapon that almost ruined Wuthering WAVes in Japan. So bad, in fact, that there are even people reporting them to the Consumer Affairs Bureau of Japan. So why?
I don't know if they've actually reported them. I think that it's being threatened that they will report them, which is a bit of an important distinction if we don't want to sensationalize issues.
Why exactly is JP so angry? The Verdant Summit, known as Sorin Renpo in Japanese, is Jiyan's signature weapon. At max level, it has a base attack of 587.5 with a crit damage substat of 48.6%, making
which is a lot.
This a very enticing stat stick just on base stats alone. But even more so, in its description, it gives a flat 12% damage increase to all resonance attacks, as well as a further 24% increase to heavy attacks after each intro skill or resonance skill. Up to 2 stacks too, so an easy 48% heavy attack bonus just by switching in and using your resonance skill. That sounds pretty good.
Can I point out something that maybe is perhaps like a bad take? You guys can tell me if this is a bad take. I feel that it doesn't make a lot of sense that Jiyan's sword would give a buff on the skill because his skill is a pretty minor part of his kit. The problem I am having is that this was translated correctly in other languages. And it also worked as intended. Yeah, it doesn't make sense that you would assume the game is incorrect about its own info. That is fair. I guess that's not really fair to say. I guess it's not fair to say that maybe they could have figured it out. We shouldn't assume that the game is wrong about something. That's actually fair. Yeah, no, never mind. That is a bad take. That is a bad take. Maybe that's a bad take. Cause to me, to a certain extent, I feel like a little bit of critical thinking could have gotten us out of this situation. But at the same time, there's no reason that you would assume that they got something like that so wrong. I guess the reason that it's poking at me is that it wouldn't really work for Jiyan if it worked like that. It wouldn't be a very good weapon or not as good of a weapon for Jiyan if it worked like that. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense. And I would have been surprised, oh, that's interesting that it works that way, but okay. But there's no reason that you would assume. So I guess that's where I have a sticking point is I think it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's also I'm seeing it knowing that it was wrong and they didn't know it was wrong, So I have 2020, hindsight. And they're just reading what the weapon does based on what was in the game. So yeah, I guess that is a bad take.
Doesn't it? This weapon is absolutely broken. This deal was so enticing, many people in Japan wailed out hard to max this weapon out to get an easy 96% heavy attack damage bonus. But
that's crazy. Don't do that. Don't gamble like this. Unless you have a lot of money. Even then, it's just kind of a poor decision. Do a little bit of gambling. Don't max out weapons like this. I know it's so much easier in this game, but just hearing oh, so many people just max the weapon. I'm please.
To equipping it, heading into battle, and using the resonance skill, they didn't see any difference in their damage. What was happening? Where was the damage increase? It states clearly here, after each resonance skill. Let's check the English translation. Increases damage bonus by 12% and an extra 24% heavy attack damage bonus every time the intro skill or resonance liberation is cast. Oh yeah, that's completely different. This huge oversight in the translation set JP on fire, with many demanding a refund for all the money they put in to get this weapon, and like I said before, several people threatening to report them to the Consumer Affairs Bureau. Actually,
technically what you said was that they had done so. So we got to check wording on that because we can sensationalize things unintentionally. and make it seem worse than it is. Because the reason I am covering this is partially because I had so many people like message me and tweet at me like, I'm very worried that they're going to be sued. I'm worried that because they're getting sued. And so like we have to be careful with the wording that we use because people were very concerned because people care a lot about Wuthering Waves and Kuro games. Like granted, it was a little bit like out of place. Why doesn't he translate any of the tweets? Possibly because he doesn't speak the language. I don't know.
Congratulated them on the Wuthering Waves CAB collaboration event. JP has a weird sense of humor sometimes. This person is saying they've already filed a formal complaint and are now just waiting for a response. Is this true? Did they really? I don't know. It is the internet after all. And then at
I think that focusing a lot on the possible suing aspect of this is a little bit frightening. He does speak Japanese. Oh, does he really? Yeah, he lives in Japan. Okay, that's super cool, actually. Okay, so he actually knows what, okay. So this motherfucker knows exactly what the fuck he's talking about, huh? All right.
9:47 p.m. on May 29th, the official Twitter account for Wuthering Waves released a statement apologizing for the issue. We have received reports that there is an error in the description for the 5-star weapon Verdant Summit. The correct description is as follows. The corrected description will be reflected in the update schedule for tonight, meaning that they implemented the hotfix that night on the 29th. The weapon currently has the correct description, but this was a pretty big oversight that can't really be attributed to a wrong translation. And like I said, many people dropped a lot of money to get this weapon. So what was the compensation for such a blunder? 160 astrite. This did not go over well, with many people scoffing at it. Just enough
So 160 astrite is just one pull. As compensation for a weapon that they might not have wailed on, since it doesn't work as well on Calcharo. Because, I mean, realistically, Calcharo's best in slot is the standard broadsword, right? If your Jiyan weapon, you can just share with Jiyan. That's true. That's kind of my thing, because I was seeing it from this aspect of, like, most people were getting, like, one copy of Verdant Summit and then just switching it between Jiyan and Calcharo. Because that's what my husband is doing. Like, a lot of people are currently doing that. So to me, that's how I was thinking about it. But I wasn't thinking about that people were just fully R5ing that motherfucker and wailing the fuck out and spending like shitloads of money. So that does make sense why they're upset. Cause like if I spent hundreds of dollars on something like that, I'd be fucking pissed too if it wasn't the best in slot. And never mind, I was dumb. See, this is why we have to learn. I was saying I felt like I didn't understand. And now I'm starting to understand. Also, it's really cool that this guy lives in Japan. Let me subscribe to him. That's cool as fuck that he lives in Japan and like speaks Japanese like he's in the culture. That's awesome.
For a single pull, people were furious with even more calls for a refund. But refunding would be difficult. Is it really possible to tell how much someone spent on this game and how much of that was spent to pull this weapon? Personally,
I don't think you could refund that way. I have no idea how that would work.
I don't think that's possible. Another solution I saw was that they could rework the description to make it so you can gain stacks from the intro skill, Resonance Liberation, and Resonance skill. But personally, I think that would make this weapon a bit too OP. I don't know.
I don't think you can change a weapon after it's come out like that, really, no? Or you can't make it, there's some laws about that, no? You can buff, not nerf. Okay, you can't nerf. Okay, you can buff. I think that would make that weapon fucking disgusting.
Maybe I'm wrong on that. So what do I think Kuro should do? Giving refunds to everyone seems a bit too much, and buffing the sword would make it way too OP. So honestly, I don't know. All I do know is that a single pull is not enough compensation for those that put a lot of money in this game. Because
I'm having one of those moments where I'm realizing that, like, I think because this didn't affect me, I was like, oh, they gave me a bunch of in-game money though, and I'm always poor in this game. And I was like, yippee, I'm not poor for a little while. And I had like no cognition about this. And I'm having one of those moments where I'm like, I am flawed.
As we know, JP tends to outspend any country per GDP, so that amount of money isn't insignificant. As it stands,
wait, do they really?
As we know, JP tends to outspend.
Oh my God. Okay, so JP goes hard in the motherfucking paint. Holy shit. Okay, I'm starting, the puzzle pieces are coming together because I felt like I did not really understand. Yeah, no wonder. I want some fucking compensation too, bitch. Holy shit.
Spend any country per GDP, so that amount of money isn't insignificant. As it stands, with the rocky release, difficult to read kanji terms and other jargon, and now this, Wuthering Waves is on the
This is such a cute little chibi, by the way, completely off topic.
Brink of outright failing in Japan. I've said it before and I'll say it again. For Wuthering Waves to succeed in Japan, it has to get the translations, localizations, and culturalizations down first and foremost for it to succeed.
Yeah.
These are the things that are most important for JP. Bugs can be fixed. If anything, a lot of JP players find the
What the fuck is that?
bugs funny. But these translation issues will ruin Wuthering Waves if it continues. I hope they fix it, and I hope they make it their biggest priority. And not only
I think there's mistranslations and like bad localization on EN and JP as well, is what we're learning. They do need to work on that, but they definitely need to be like hiring some people to go through and fix a lot of those, because there's a lot of translation issues, I think, in probably multiple languages. And they had said that they were no longer going to be translating into Brazilian Portuguese like a week or two before the game came out, and they were very upset about that. It's like whatever if it's story, it's like whatever if it's like the description for the lore of a weapon. But when we are fucking over people's signature weapons or signature characters and stuff like that, that is a huge issue. But if this is like a continuous issue, you cannot fuck with people's money like that. This is a gacha game. In a gacha game, you cannot be fucking with people's money. People are gambling. You cannot do that. And so I guess I was coming at this from a really ignorant mindset. I'm really glad that I watched this and talked to you guys about it, because I felt like I genuinely did not understand.
Me, there's still a large player base over here that genuinely enjoys this game and wishes to see it succeed. Only time will tell though. Personally, I still think this weapon is extremely good, but I can understand
it is a very good weapon, to be fair.
Why people would feel frustrated about this. They thought it was one thing, but got another. But that other thing is still very, very good. Swap in, use your Resonance Liberation, get the damage buff. It's not like the weapon was completely nerfed, it just means you have to activate it a different way, which is just as easy. But that's just me speaking.
I think that means that it has a much lower... I think somebody said that that means it has a much lower uptime, no? Because I mean, if it's on intro skill and your resonance skill, that's gonna have a much higher uptime, especially if you have constellations. But this has a much lower uptime because you're just not gonna be ulting as much as you're gonna be using your skill. So it is a difference. It's still a very good weapon, but it does matter because Calcharo is not as ult heavy as Jiyan. Jiyan's everything he does is based on his ult. So it does matter. It does matter.
As a free-to-play player, if I put money on this expecting one thing but getting another, I would be just as upset. So I do get it. But like I said, swap in, use your burst, get the damage. Simple. But what do you think Kuro should do? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to comment and subscribe because I have more videos just like this coming out in the future. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Thank you for explaining this to me, because I feel like I genuinely did not really understand it. And I was minimizing this because it didn't affect me. And I have learned. I've learned more about the big picture. I did not realize how much money Japan spent on gacha. That was something that I did not know. So to piss off Japan on their money, on what they've gambled on, that is a big deal. I genuinely did not know that. But I don't think they can reimburse. But I do see that they have promised some compensation. So I'm going to see if we can translate this in a way that will make sense at all. This is the announcement that they put out for JP. Notice to rovers. Once again, we would like to apologize for the inconvenience caused to everyone regarding the inaccurate description of Jiyan's 5-star weapon. Compensation details have been sent via in-game mail. The inaccurate explanation has now been corrected, but we have decided to respond individually to each of the rovers who have been affected by this event. If you are a rover who meets the following conditions and we would like to ask you to apply to the contact form below. And wanderers who were affected by the translation error and obtained the 5-star weapon Blue Scale Mountain Range before X time, May 29, 2024. Contact email address. Please enter the details. If you'd like the defects resolved. Oh, how would you like the defect resolved? Okay, so they're getting... okay. So they're asking, what would you like as compensation and screenshots to prove that they did get the weapon? Okay. I mean, that seems a little bit up in the air about exactly what they're going to be doing, but I think it will be nice if they work on it individually and compensate people individually. I don't think everybody globally deserves a little treat for something they fucked up for Japanese people that affected Japanese people. But for JP, they should be compensated, and I think that this is very fair. Granted, I would have loved a 5-star standard picker personally because I need another sword, but you know, we can only ask for so much in this life. So I really do appreciate this video because this helped me learn a lot. I hope this helps y'all learn. Let me know what you think about it. Were you affected by this, or were you in other translations? How are the translation issues in other languages as well? I've heard problems with French and German and all over the place, so I'm very interested to hear about it from you. But again, come join us on Twitch if you'd like to be a cool guy, because the YouTube frogs are great, but Twitch frogs are the best ones. And I'll see you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye!